Hello everyone, happy Sunday. We're now going to be live. I want you guys to start chatting with me and tell me hello from whatever part of the world you are watching this from. Can I just say and see anyone there? Say hello. Tell us where you're watching this from. Happy Sunday. Today is going to be a good day. We're having someone very special from Scotland, Gavin Neate, and I'm so glad that you guys are joining us now, and we're going to actually be here. Hi Dulce, hi Philomen, so good to see you guys. I want to say a big thank you first of all before we start to Stephanie Keane, of course, because she was amazing last time. And you know, I was just really sorry to you guys for the bad connection we had last time. So hopefully today is going to be so much better, and we can actually have everyone here today be able to. And thank you again, because you know it's going to be our third MONII live talk. And we actually having a Gavin here. I just want to say before we start a few words about MONII, because back 3 months ago, I shared my vision 3 months ago, back in August. I shared this vision with my team, Eve from Canada and Tanya from Portugal, about actually doing something that could actually bring some inspiration to people, where we could share inspiring stories around the world, where people feel less isolated and feel a little bit more empowered just to listen to other people's stories. And our aim, to be honest, Gavin, is really to focus on what people can do and achieve more, what they can do more, and not to be like so much sometimes limited, to that space, that because we don't know what we can do and start believing more in ourselves, because can happen. Look at us, we are here now having this beautiful conversation. How are you today?
I am awesome, and I feel brilliant for being here. You just light up a room wherever you are, Monica, and it's great to be meeting you today. And so many people. It's great. Hi, guys.
I know, Gavin, thank you so much. I just want to share it with everyone. The way that I've met you was really back quite a few good years ago, back when I was working at Show Trust. I was in Scotland, Edinburgh, and I was working as a volunteer. I was doing all the social media things, and I was supporting as a volunteer role Dr. Stephen, and it was amazing there, because there, when I met you, you know, in Edinburgh, I could see you were so determined, so passionate about what you were doing, that I was like, oh my God, you know, you could like light up the room as well and see like, and this is why I'll never forget that, because I want people to understand where you're coming from, your story. But first of all, tell us a little bit about Scotland. What are you drinking, by the way? I saw you drinking something.
Do you know, I'm sorry, I'm drinking coffee. I'm having a coffee.
Oh,
But
okay. I'm
actually,
drinking tea.
what's really
So
important
cheers.
is what it's in, okay? We can talk about this later, but this is a mug with a saying on it that's been painted
Yeah,
on it.
tell us what it says there.
So, right, okay, so this is a book. It's a, I don't know if it's a parable, but it's a,
You have to read what it says,
yeah,
because when we read from the camera is opposite. So
yeah,
read
okay,
what
right.
it says.
So this is a story called Horatius, and it's by
Mm.
a gentleman called Babington Macaulay, Thomas
Right.
Babington Macaulay, and he lived from 1800 to 1859. Anyway, the story that he tells is all about this city which is besieged by these invaders. And the invaders are like Troy, a little bit like Troy. I've always had it in my head, a bit like Troy. The
Yeah.
invaders are countless people. They are hundreds of thousands of people, all attacking this one village or this one town. And we're in a situation where they have a bridge into this town. And this guy comes up and he goes, his name is Horatius, and he says, yeah, okay, I think we could hold these guys off. We can hold off this invading army if we get people to stand on the bridge and fight, because they can only fight 3 at a time. And we can only fight 3 at a time. Okay, so he says, right, okay, we can stand on the bridge and we will hold back an entire army. I'm getting goosebumps.
Wow.
This is goosebumps.
Wow.
Okay, he says, we can hold back an entire army, but I can't do it alone. I need 2 more people. So Horatius stands up and he says, I will stand on the bridge. Well, this is what it says here. He says, hew down, it's like written in Old English, hew down, Sir Consul, with all your speed you may. That's hew down, in other words, cut the bridge. I, with 2 more people to help me, will hold the foe in play. In yon straight path, 1,000 may well be stopped by 3. Now who will stand on either hand and keep the bridge with me? In other words, I can do this, but I need your help. And I don't need thousands, I just need 2. And it just shows that 3 people, if you're standing with your friend, if you're standing with somebody, you can change the world. And that's, I love this story.
Exactly. And I want to hear how you changing the world, Gavin. Tell me more. How you changing the world? I want to understand, first of all, is basically, I'm so curious how you started as working as a guide dog, because if you could tell us a story about really what you did, and now, then you were a guide dog for how many years, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. So when I left school, I was wanting to be a chef, and I was working in a motorway service station, somewhere where they just flip burgers. I mean, it was not being a chef. And my mother said to me, why don't you join the military and become a chef in the military? And I was like, okay, that sounds cool. So she drives me to this careers office and puts me outside and says, go in and become a chef. And I came out half an hour later and I said, Mum, I'm going to be a police dog handler. And she was like, oh, okay, not going to be a chef anymore. So I said, I'm going to be a police dog handler. And I then joined the military, and I was in the military for 10 years.
Right.
As a policeman, but with training with dogs. And then I left in 1996 and joined Guide Dogs for the Blind, where I started training guide dogs.
I see.
So I'd already had 10 years dog training experience, but now I was training guide dogs for blind people. And it was 3 years training, and I became a guide dog mobility instructor. That is the person who trains the person how to use the dog. So they do a bit of dog training, but a lot of the work they do is training the person how to use the dog. So as soon as you give the dog to the person, you ignore the dog. You have no interest in the dog at all. So I went from being someone who liked dogs, a dog lover, but I went to liking dogs and going, this is your dog, I want nothing to do with it. So once I had the dog, and then moved it on, and then it worked for somebody who then gave them their independence, and it gave them the opportunity to go out into the world and do the things they wanted to do.
Right. So after you were doing this, something actually come up to you that you were seeing that something else actually needed. So how come now you are a founder and CEO of a company, a tech company? Tell us that, because I want to understand, how come that after being a guide dog, you're now a CEO and a founder of a big company now and helps disabled people.
Yeah, no, well, obviously the connection is disability and disabled people, but the real connection is empowerment and independence. To empower somebody. Now, I think a history of charity is you give something to somebody, and then in some small way they feel thankful that you've given them something. Thank you for giving me your charity. But I wanted to be part of something that was more than that. I didn't want them to be thanking me. I wanted them to go off and have their life. I wanted
independent lives.
Yeah, independent lives, or to have choice. So I didn't want to I never felt that I needed to be thanked for what I was doing. I just wanted to do something that made me feel happy. But I guess, and I did 18 years training guide dogs, and I loved it. It was fantastic. But I realized that I was more interested in the people. And then I became more interested not more interested in technology, but I was interested in how technology was helping people. So anybody who has a phone, if they go onto their phone and they go into settings on their phone, which is the grey cog, and then they have a look down, they will get to a thing that says accessibility. And the whole thing is full of different things on their phone that is into accessibility. Now, when first technology came out, you had to pay hundreds of pounds, thousands of pounds to make your phone accessible or a way that it could be used by somebody who was disabled. But iPhone started adding it all onto their phone. Apple started adding it all as standard. So every single
Right.
phone had this stuff on it. So people would turn up to train with their guide dogs, and um, they all had this technology in their pocket. They would take out their phone, and if I just turn mine on for a second, you know all about this, but some of your viewers might not.
Yeah, of course.
So the phone would be talking to them, and I'll.
Yeah, yeah.
55% volume, containers, headings, language.
Okay.
So it meant that their phone was talking to them, and I was like, wow,
Yeah.
this is so cool. And I didn't think I was going to have a company. I never wanted a company. I was happy training people how to use guide dogs. But then one day I was thinking to myself, well, if the phone can do that, why can't the phone fix some of the problems that my clients were having? And there was one, I've got a book here. I showed it to you the other day, but this was early on. I was looking at this situation where there was a person standing next to a pedestrian crossing and they couldn't reach the buttons.
So they couldn't reach, and
they couldn't reach the
that
buttons.
person was blind,
Yeah,
right?
that person was blind. But then the more I studied it, the more I realized this wasn't just blind people. There were also people who were in power chairs that couldn't reach buttons.
Exactly. Because too far away,
It's
or
too
because,
far away, it's badly designed.
Exactly.
And I just thought, well, if you can't reach the button, how do you cross the road safely? And the truth is that they weren't. They were crossing the road, but they were in danger. And
So they always had to have someone with them all the time. Is that what
they either had to ask for help, or they just had to go, it's clear, I'm going. They could never really interact with the button. And then I just thought, one day I thought, well, why can't the phone press the button? So then I didn't invent anything. I came up with the idea. I got other people to do the hard work. Well, you could say the hard work was coming up with the idea, but I then said to somebody, could you invent something that could go inside the box and then the phone could communicate with it? And then I have a crossing behind me in my kitchen. But I then in 2011 had a pedestrian crossing operated by smartphones. I didn't realize it at the time, but that was the first time anybody in the world had ever done that. They'd never had, so it became the first pedestrian crossing in the world operated by smartphones. But I was still working for guide dogs, and I was like, it was just a hobby.
So you started, everything was like, let's play around this because I've got this idea, and let me talk with someone. So you had like 1, 2 people working with you on this idea, or?
No, I just paid other people to do it for me.
You paid,
I was just on my own. And you mentioned before, when you met me, you could tell that there was a passion in me that you knew you had in you, which is obvious.
Definitely.
And when if people see an aura, they can see it from a distance. They can see somebody, and you could call it an aura, but I think if you make eye contact, you smile, you engage with people, it's an aura in a way. And I think when you have passion for something, it comes across and other people can see it. Some people love it, and some people are jealous of it, and some people they hate it. They don't like to see somebody else having that kind of passion. Now, it might be because they just think that person's arrogant, but it could be that they feel jealous, or it could just be that they feel the person's annoying and they don't understand it. But when you have passion for something, it drives you forward all the time. And I was like, I wonder if this could happen, because if this could happen, I could make life easier for my clients. And then I took all of my savings, I sold my house, and I spent all of my money on making this thing happen.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. How did you feel? Like when you were doing that, did you feel like people were supporting you, especially some close friends? And do you actually had that? Because I found it now, and I want to share that with you. When we started, 3 months ago only, but I don't see like my network, my connections, they actually like feel happy what I'm doing, or like having like a good, I don't know, just people like telling me that, that's good. We should keep going, Monica. Should say do this. And that's what I think you're saying. People sometimes afraid that we are too excited and passionate, that we see it, that this could be quite a big thing.
Well, you have certain people around you. As I say, the people that maybe see you from a distance. But if you're talking about the friends that support you, you have some friends who will say, "That's brilliant, that's amazing," but that's as deep as it goes. And then you have other friends who go, "This is truly amazing. How can I help?"
That's
And
true.
initially, those are the people that you have around you. Those are the ones who say, "I want to help you because I see your vision and I believe in your vision." And they are the most important people on the planet. There are lots of individuals, not lots, there are individuals who have good ideas. And there are individuals that have bad ideas. We know on this planet there are people with bad ideas.
Yeah.
It's about
Yeah.
having people that support them in their idea. If you
Yeah.
have a good idea, the most important person you can find in the world is somebody who believes in your idea. Not just says it's a good idea, but who goes, "You have a good idea, I want to help you make this a reality." And they have to
Yes.
make a decision as to whether you are the sort of leader who can make it happen. If they think that you're going to spend 2 weeks and then it's gone, and then you do another idea, they're never going to follow you. And it might be that you don't do 2 weeks and then they follow you. But if you do it and you keep doing it for 2, 3, 4, 5 years,
Yeah.
everybody around you sees that you are like, "This is what I'm doing." And then you get people, yeah.
Exactly. Can you see actually the difference now where you were and where you are now? You
Oh,
can
hell
see that.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. Although
Definitely. Is
I'm never satisfied because no matter where I am now, it's not where I want to be.
because so much to do
There
more,
is so
is
much to
it?
do. And a great analogy for you. Somebody said to me, "How do you get happy doing what you're doing?" And I said, "Well, people around you can get happy." And I said, "Imagine walking into a room and you're with your friends. So you have 4 friends with you, and you walk into
Yeah.
a room, and in that room, there is a television and a drinks cabinet and a coffee machine and some sweeties, some chocolates, some movies, some games, and some beautiful pictures and some maybe art coloring things. And there's some beautiful things, access to all these things. Everybody walks into the
Yeah.
room with you and they go, 'Wow, what an amazing room.' But what you're thinking is, where is the door out into the next room?
Yes.
You never
Yes.
stop to enjoy the room. You were always
Is
looking for the next door onto the next step in your journey. And you know that the final room, if there is such a final room, the final room is that you have accomplished what you wanted to do. And then you allow it to
absolutely.
continue. And I think the important thing for all entrepreneurs is to realize, and this is truly important for their own health, is to realize when they have enough people around them to relax a little. Because
Mm.
those first few years, you're driving things forward yourself. And if you keep doing that, you will die. It will kill you emotionally, physically, mentally. And it's
Takes
everybody
all
has,
out of your energy,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah. Everybody has to understand that you need to do that to start with. But eventually, when you have people around you as the entrepreneur, you need to start going, "Okay, I can relax a little now, a little, because if I don't, it's going to be dangerous for me." And this is all
Exactly.
really important lessons. Really
Mm.
important.
I'm very, yeah, thank you so much. I'm really interested to find out what was the initial feedback you actually received from your customers when you started to do like,
Well,
when
I,
because now I know you have the welcome app. That is
yeah,
the
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that is your yeah. So when actually that product was on and there, what was the feedback from the customers?
Oh, it's interesting because at the start there was no feedback. I had no customers. Um, Chicken or egg? What comes first? What is it that creates people talking about what you're doing? And
Yeah,
the customer who buys your first thing. Do you
yeah.
give it for free? Are they true believers? Are they just have you managed to sell it incredibly well and therefore they're thinking, "Well, I believe in him, but I don't know about this thing." Anyway,
And
uh,
yours is so difficult because it's not something that you can actually give to the customers as well to use. You need to have like a system, as a bigger thing to
yeah.
actually put in place. So tell us more about that.
So every time you need to have a beta version, BETA version, it's like basically saying this is the proven version that is going to be out there, and we will improve on it later in the development of it. But to start with, this is the test version, and then you put that out there and you can test people. But I just explain what it is. So I have two products in my company. One is called Button, which is the app that you use to press the button at the pedestrian crossing, and the other is Welcome. And
Can you
Welcome,
show us that?
oh
Can you
well,
show us
yeah.
that?
So I need to turn my Bluetooth on. Yep. So
So that
this
is the
is
button, yeah?
Button.
Yeah.
Okay, and
So everyone, all the disabled people can use that, but just in Scotland now, or what's
yeah,
happening?
it's in
Because just
Scotland.
make
There
sure
are
people are aware of that.
Yeah, there's a couple in England as well. So these are crossings, and they install a little bit of hardware into the pedestrian crossing, like this one, and then your phone gets close to it, and your phone presses the button for you. And because
Yeah.
your phone has pressed the button, the phone can increase the crossing time, or it can make the audible signal louder, or it can do all these different things. So it
All right.
personalizes the crossing. Ever since horses, roads have been about vehicles. Because
Okay.
nobody, when horses and carriages and horses are on roads, nobody would just try and stop the horse and walk across the road. You would wait
Yeah.
until the horse had gone by.
Definitely.
For sure. But then they invented buttons for crossings. So you would have pedestrian crossings. But you were then stopping the traffic. But people are like, you're walking in front of a vehicle that if it hits you, it's going to
Yeah,
kill
yeah.
you. So we had pedestrian crossings and buttons, and that was why I decided to use this. But then I
Okay.
came up with another idea, which was helping disabled people get better customer service when they walked into shops or
Yes.
banks or airports or bus stations or coffee shops or anywhere or office blocks or anything. Whenever a disabled person walks into a shop or into a venue, they are rolling a dice. It is really, are they lucky enough to meet somebody who understands how to talk to them?
Yeah,
And the only
definitely.
solution we've got just now is you train the staff member and hope that they remember some of the training when they meet somebody who's disabled.
What is very difficult, isn't
It's,
it?
well, and 75% of all disabled people have hidden disabilities.
Yeah. Yes.
And the only way that you'd be able to help them is if you said what your disability was before you started talking. Hello there, my name's Gavin, and I'm living with schizophrenia. I'm an autistic
Yeah.
person. And then you're doing that in public. And I just thought there must be a way of telling people before you walk through the door. So the best way to describe it is when you order a taxi and the taxi is 3 minutes from your house, you get a text message to say the taxi's 3 minutes away. Well, all I'm
So
doing
that is
is
what Welcome App
using that time. Yeah, it
does.
buys the
Very
time and it
good.
trains the staff. And it says, Gavin's just about to walk through the door. Gavin would like you to know he's autistic. These are some top tips on how you should interact with Gavin when he comes through the door. And this
Yeah.
is things that Gavin wants you to do. This is what he wants to buy today. Here's his shopping list. This is how best to help Gavin. And we were the first company in the world to ever do this. Nobody has ever done this before. No, but
Well done. This is
yeah, but it goes
amazing.
back to what I
That's
said, Moni. It's about I never feel comfortable because I know that there are not many people that know about it yet. So
I
yeah, great,
know. I know. This is why
but
we're
not great
here. We
enough.
want
Yeah,
to be able to
exactly.
share. We want to share your inspiring story with the world. This is why when I meet people like you, have such an amazing project, I feel that, you know, we are working basically in our bubble, just our bubble that sometimes people know us. And I feel that there is so much more out there. It just reminds me before I came to the UK, I was in Portugal. I always felt from young age that there was a world out there I wanted to get to know. And takes courage. You need to be brave. You need to be determined to actually come out of that shell and say, I'm going to try this. It's going to be difficult, but we're going to try this. You did
Yeah,
it.
yeah, and just like in this, you can turn around and you can say, "Who will stand with me? Who is there that can
Exactly.
stand with me?" And that MONII is made up of three amazing people and more, but you have
And
amazing
I'm so
people with you, and you
grateful.
stand, you go, and you
I
stand there and you go,
know.
"They are with me." And
I know.
they
Do
are
you
your
know?
people.
And you exactly. And I couldn't even believe it because when I shared that vision with them, they were like, "Oh yes, let's do this."
Yeah,
Like,
I
you
know.
know,
This is
I
yes.
know. I feel like, oh my God, are you sure? But how come we're going to do this? It's like from something, a seed we put, and then the concept start growing. And I feel like, oh my God, you have someone here. But now it's like you're saying. you need more because you need people to actually start to understand to how can partnership with you, how can support your idea, Gavin, because it's like going to the different councils like you've been doing. You just won an award. Tell us about this award you just won.
Awards, it's an interesting one. So we won an award which was it's a social good award, tech for good award for um, tech for good to help disabled people. But we won the award with Leeds Hospitals as a national award, and we're going to work with Leeds Hospital, teaching hospital. And the truth is that the awards are really important, but an award is a paperweight. Yeah, award is it's what you do with it. So if you just turn up to the night and go, yay, let's have a party, we won an award, yay, we won a party. And the next day you don't find a way to use that to take you forward, the award is pointless.
I know.
It's a good time to say to your team, guys, enjoy the night. This is when we can celebrate how far we've come. But for me, the award is another door into another room if I make the most from it. So yes, I tell people, yeah, we are winning awards for this and this and this, and it's really important, but the award is just another step towards the thing that you are trying to do. If your team need awards to prove that they've done a good job, then as a boss, you're not doing a good job. They need to know every day that they're doing a good job. The awards are
Absolutely.
like a route to other
Absolutely.
things.
Absolutely. Do you feel that some of the fears you have now, do you want to share some? Because it's like I know that you have some, but it's about how do you think, at least one, how can you overcome that fear you have? How do you think it's going to be overcome?
Well, you might have had the same fear, and I will go back to the same story about Horatio. When he says, "Who will stand on the bridge with me?" and he knows he needs three people, the fear is that there will be nobody there to stand with you. You stand forward yourself because you're going to do it anyway. You're going to do it anyway, whether somebody stands with you or not. So the first fear any of us will have is, does anybody believe in me enough to stand with me?
Absolutely.
And how can I help them understand? How can they see my vision? Is my vision even right? Have I seen something that's wrong? Do I have the strength of my conviction to actually say, I'll stand there and be shot at? And everybody's going to shoot at you physically or mentally. You're going to be in that situation. But there was a saying, it wasn't Gandhi that said it, but it's a really famous saying, which was first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, then you win. And I think that's something that you need to go through that process. But that whole thing of putting yourself into a position where you will be ignored and then laughed at because you are standing forward. But I think that fear for me was, do other people get it? Do other people understand what I'm trying to do? Have I explained it well enough? Yeah. Does everybody go, there's already staff training. Why should, what we need to do when somebody discriminates is we need to beat up the person who discriminated. Absolutely. And my question was, but why have they discriminated? What has caused them to discriminate? We could say because they're a bad person and beat them up, or we can say they discriminated because they didn't know the law, they had a bad educator, they had bad education, they were ignorant of equality and equity, they didn't understand the human involvement. There is always a why as to something that happens. And I always found that I was trying to educate people as to what the why was. Everybody would say, when a person gets discriminated against by a company, well, you need to take the company to court. You need to complain to your MP.
Yeah.
But my first point was, why did they discriminate? Now, it might be they're a bad person, but more often than not, it is because they didn't understand the law, or they're trying to protect something that they didn't understand or didn't realize, or they were just caught off guard. And I just thought, if I can help them before they get put into that situation, there's a great saying, which is a friend is a stranger you haven't met yet. Or sorry, a stranger is a friend you haven't met yet. So
you haven't met yet.
Yeah, exactly. So welcome was all about making a friendship before you meet them.
Exactly, because it will be true. It's about me finding out in your welcome up to see, oh, someone is coming out to my shop that has these needs, and is the way I'm going to support them. The person who arrives is just like, hi, I already knew about you because I can see something here.
Exactly. Because not only does that mean we feel happier because we met somebody we know, oh, I recognize them. Hi, John, it's me, Gavin. I'm here to help you buy something in this shop. Now,
Yeah.
the business then sells something, and the person
Mm-hmm.
who got good customer service comes back to that shop. The
Yeah.
person who sold it to them feels good because they know how to sell it, and the business can even
Absolutely.
upsell. They say if the person's coming in for something, but you know something will be better suited to them, you could sell them
Yeah.
that instead because you know their
Yeah.
need. And
Yeah.
that is how we. I mean, people say to me, "Why are you doing this company?" And they talk about technology and they talk about products. And I think fundamentally why I'm doing this product or this company is because I want to improve communication between people.
Wonderful. And it's all about that. It's about people to feel valued, that they actually are listened to, and you and I can understand each other needs as well. Because if you don't understand my needs, how can I buy your product or how can I go to your shop or to do things? Yeah.
Or how
So
can
it's
I
beautiful.
understand your religion? Or how can I understand your
Yes.
sexual orientation? Or how can I understand your background or your nature or your politics? If we don't understand how somebody got to where they are,
Yeah.
we can't approach them in a way that is going to be mutually beneficial. And if all of us
Yeah.
take the time to understand other people and to use the tools that help us understand other people,
Yeah.
then we will have a much better planet and more chance for the human race.
Beautiful. So, in your opinion, what is actually the biggest barrier to diversity, equality, and inclusion?
Well, it's kind of obvious. I'm going to say poor communication,
Poor
poor
communication,
communication, and and lack of empathy. Um,
lack of empathy,
it's
because that is
interesting.
another big one, right?
Yeah, well, empathy is massive, but empathy comes from understanding. So let's say you're in a petrol station, okay, and you work in a petrol station, and a person comes in who is really rude to you, and they put their card in, and the card doesn't work in the card machine, and they start shouting at you, and you think, hey, this guy's an idiot, okay, but then you
They
find
had a
out that
bad
that
day.
person has had two flat tires that day, somebody else crashed into him.
Something happens.
Somebody had an argument with his wife or daughter or mother, whatever, that morning,
Yeah,
and you suddenly realize that person has come in and is in a bad mood or has had a really bad day. When you realize that, your attitude to them changes. You go, "You're right, mate. You've had a bad day, haven't you?" And the person goes,
yeah,
"Oh yeah, I have. Don't worry, man. I understand. I know. I understand. You take the time. Any problems, we can sort it." Now, you don't have time for these things all the time, but when
no,
you take that consideration that you know what happened to that person, it
yeah.
changes. I'm not saying we should know what happens to everybody, but that's how we can move forward.
No, it's
Empathy,
true.
empathy, empathy.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Gavin, I want to find out more about you in terms of what are your source of inspiration, apart of just, your product and the things that you want to achieve and help more disabled people, all that. What are your source of inspiration? What you do?
Yeah, so I was asked a question the other day about who my heroes were, and I don't think I have any heroes, but I have people who say things or do things, and I go, that is pretty cool. So there are people I hold in high esteem, but the people I
Mm,
hold in the highest esteem, nobody's heard of, because they're people that are just getting on with their lives, and I just see them fighting to achieve something when they have all of the odds against them. It would be like talking to a woman in the 1970s in the UK and seeing that she was trying to get into a managerial position in her company.
yeah, yeah.
And you go, everything is stacked against them. They walk through a door, somebody is sexist towards them. They go for a job, they are put in a different position from a male counterpart. They go for the same job, they get paid less from the male counterpart. And that lack of balance, to me, was always really bad. I was like, why is that lack of balance?
Mm.
But my inspiration, if anybody, comes from my mother. My mother has
Mm.
incredibly high moral code, and I believe that that is where my moral code comes from. In fact, it was my mother who read that poem to me when I was a young boy, and she bought me the mug because she recognised that this is Gavin's the sort of guy who's going to stand forward and say, right, who's with me, uh, rather than
Nice.
necessarily follow somebody else. But that moral code comes from my mum, who is just like the most amazing woman on the planet. She's just truly amazing. And my girlfriend, she's amazing as well. But my mom is like right
That's
up there.
good.
But yeah,
She's
no,
always there
she might be
supporting
watching.
you.
So I mean, no, she is. She truly is. But
Yeah.
that moral code is like a standard that I set things to.
Yeah.
And I try and get it right all the time. I don't get it right all the time, and people misunderstand me sometimes. But ultimately, that's the thing that drives me forward. That's who my heroes are. My hero is a standard that I have set in my brain as being equal and fair.
So do you do actually anything like as a routine or, something that gives you inspiration to start the day or something that you'd like to
My morning
share?
routine.
Yeah,
So
something like you do
I
like
love
to.
yoga. I love
Oh,
yoga.
cool.
So I would do yoga in the mornings. I go in and out of yoga sometimes. So I did 2 years in a row, and I was like, wow, every day it was like an hour of yoga every day, and
Yeah.
I think it's the only way to do it. I, Breakfast. Just now, it's like
Breakfast.
I come through my bedroom, I sit in front of my desk, I get on with my work, I maybe then have a shower, I come back and do more work, I have lunch, I then go to bed. But
Cool.
that's the routine. I think the routine for me though is the yoga. I would totally recommend yoga. If I had any advice for a 20-year-old Gavin, I would say do an hour, half an hour of yoga every single morning. You follow a routine, you're in the zone, no electronic devices anywhere near you, decent music, follow something online if you need to, follow a
Yeah.
book, learn yoga, and just have a peace with yourself just for those half hour, 40 minutes in the morning.
Great. So if you had to choose one of the five senses, like taste, smell, touch, vision, and hearing, which one would you feel more related and why? That's just a funny question.
So
What do you say?
so
If you had
which
to choose,
if I had to
yeah,
choose
if you
one to
had to choose
lose, or if I'm losing
to
it,
be,
or
like if you had to actually be and
oh, that's
one of
interesting.
them. Yes.
Yeah, I've had
Which
lots of
one?
people say which sense would you lose, and that's a
Which
difficult
one is
question.
it?
But which one
Which
am
one?
I? Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
I think mm,
Is that a
I think
difficult
it's
one? Do you
touch.
think?
I think it's touch,
Touch. Mm.
tactile. I think most people have that. If you
Mm.
have there's very few people who don't feel things.
Mm.
Um, some people don't have sight, some people don't have hearing, but I think
Yeah.
to touch things, to manually touch things and to communicate through touch, I think is the most important thing that we have. I've never been asked that
That's
question,
interesting.
so it's an interesting one.
That's interesting. I feel like I'm more vision. I don't know. For some reason, I feel like I've connected more with the vision. But it's true. Everyone is different. This is why
Yeah,
it's an
no,
interesting
I
question.
could choose. I could choose an answer for every single one of them. I'm sure. I've
Yeah,
never been asked that, and vision
it's
is
very good.
massively important. But I think of
The touch,
vision. I've
yes.
worked with vision
And you
impairment for so
are. And
long.
actually, I can see you be a touch because you really are like, you always like wants to help and to say, how you doing? Yeah, I can see that, definitely. So why have you decided to accept Moni's invitation? Because we nearly coming towards the end of our talk. So we
Um,
went,
well, because I love you to start with.
thank you,
Because
Gavin.
when I
Thanks
met
so
you the
much.
first time, I saw your aura, and I
Oh, thank
remember
you.
saying to you when I first met you, I said, Monaco, we need to work together. And I said that from the
Oh,
very first time I met you. I was like, this
that
is
is so true.
yeah, and I knew it. And this is like 4 years later, 5 years later, something like this, and we're now
Yeah,
doing something together. But I could see that you were a
everyone.
beautiful person. So that's you want to meet those beautiful people and keep them in your lives, which is why when you said to me, I'm doing this new thing and it's not really got thousands of people following it yet, I was like, well, it will have. How cool to be in at the
Oh.
start.
Gavin, you a star. Thank you so much. I think we all need someone to support us. And I found that all my way, my path coming across from Portugal, UK here, we always meet someone that actually believe on us. And that's what all people and everyone wants. There's someone that actually can understand and see that able to help at a particular time in our lives. So I think it's amazing. Thank you so much. And I'm so grateful
No,
for
I
that.
wish you the best of luck. This is the most amazing thing. And I hope you
But
have more and more
wait,
followers.
I know, but before you go, I just want you to really tell us three key takeaways that actually you'd like to pass to our audience today. And meantime, please, guys, let us know if you have any questions for Gavin because he's here. It would be really nice for us to see if there is any questions. And let us know how Gavin's talk has inspired you because it would be really nice to hear some comments from the people who are watching now. And also because they will be watching this after because some people, they are not free now to watch this. But we will share in our network this amazing conversation. So yeah, while we're waiting for a few questions, to tell us 3 key takeaways that you would like
Yeah,
our
so
audience to
I
take.
think don't worry if you are not a leader, because leaders need supporters, and they are the most important people in the world. I always think that if somebody is prepared to step forward, then they need somebody to help them, and otherwise that bridge will not be, it'll be too wide, there'll be one person on it. They need people with them. So it might be you're a leader, in which case don't go, who's coming with me, who's coming with me. Do it. And then if you are passionate and you have the right ideas, somebody will follow you. And I think that's the important thing in that respect. The other thing that I've always thought is don't go too far down when you have something terrible happening to you, and don't go too far up when you have something good happening to you. Try and level it out. But understand other people's joy in your successes, because they will always want to share in your success. Don't stop them from sharing in your success, but let them know that when you walk into that room, they are allowed to enjoy the room. They don't have to suddenly come to the next door with you. You can go through that next door and have a look, and then occasionally stop for a second and go, right, I know what's through that door. I'm just going to go back and share this time with my friends here at the drinks cabinet, or whatever it might be. So something like that.
Yes.
What might be my other takeaway? Friendships. Find the right people around you through your life and keep hold of them. We've never had a greater opportunity to keep in touch with our friends, with the right people. So if you find there's somebody that you really connect with, keep in touch and have empathy for them. Ask them what they're doing. Ask them how you can support them, because that will come back to you at some point, even if you don't need it. Sooner or later you might need it, and then those friendships, those true, genuine friendships, will help you through your life. So yeah, like we wouldn't be having this conversation if we hadn't have clicked and went, I'm staying in touch with Monica.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I think I've got 2 questions here for you. One is, what is the first thing that comes to your mind when you think about the term disability? And they want to find out if that is the correct word to say in terms of our word disability.
Yeah, that's a really great
Days.
question. So there's a, not a modern way, it's been around for a few years now, but the way of looking at the word disability, or a person who has a condition, is a medical model or a social model. The medical model is that you look at the person and they have something wrong with them. They have a broken leg. They have a broken leg. Therefore, they are disabled by their broken leg. Whereas when you look at the social model of disability is, how is that broken leg disabling them? They are disabled because they can't get into that building.
Yeah.
The social model says, well, what is disabling them? Well, it's the building. They've been disabled by the fact that they can't get into the building, not their broken leg. A single mother with 2 children is disabled because she can't work from home. She's been disabled by the fact that she hasn't got the ability to work, to go away to an office every day. Can she find a job where she can work from home, where she can manage her children? That's a different way of looking at the word disabled. Poor education disables people. What can we do to help that person get more education? So I would say disabled is what society does to you, not a condition that you have.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. I understand. And last one, give us 2 tips to easily bond with someone with disabilities. That's it.
So I think to bond with someone, this is a great question. I think use exactly the same techniques that you would use to bond with somebody you didn't consider to have disabilities.
Absolutely. Do you know why? Because we are just human beings.
Just the same.
And we all just want to be treated with respect and to actually understand we can hear and we can speak about actually what we feel. And sometimes people, they don't understand that if you just ask how they're doing, how they are, as in, it's just the same, right?
Greet them with your heart. But
Absolutely.
don't they are an equal. Always see somebody you haven't met before as an equal first. Never think of somebody as more unfortunate because they might have better quality heart than you. But never think of
Agree.
somebody as uneducated because their wisdom might be far outshine yours. So meet somebody as an equal. And hopefully, if they meet you as an equal, you'll come together as an equal. And I think that is where we should all start from. Have friends before you've met them.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much. So finally, be empowered because that empowers you. Do you agree with that? Why?
Wow, be empowered. Go and do the things you need to do, but understand that other people are doing that as well, and meet them with empathy because you're empowered. But we're not. We are not all the center of the world. We are all part of the world, and we have to understand that everybody is the center of their own world. But we need to be empowered to do things, but not like that. I do what I say, so I can't even do that thing. Can you
No.
do that? Can you do that thing where people go? I don't know what it is.
It's
It's like
something
this.
I don't
You see it on
know.
American chat shows all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Don't say, yeah, it's whatever. I can't do it. But we have to be empathetic. So be empowered to do things, but don't think that that power means that you are a higher level than somebody else.
No, you are
So
not more than anybody else.
yeah, but empower other people at the same time as you feel empowered.
Absolutely. And today you have inspired us so much. We want to say, and I want to say thank you so much. I'm so grateful for this moment. It was beautiful. Absolutely. And, thank you so much for taking out of your beautiful Sunday to be here with me and to be here with MONII. And, we're grateful. That's what we can say. And to our audience today, thank you so much as well for being here with us. And really remember, having fears is the only natural, and we really can't stop them to hold us back. And if you believe, you can achieve. So I'll see you in 2 weeks' time with another guest from another country. Thank you so much, Gavin. Have a beautiful Sunday. Take care. Bye.